Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger, and up next, biggest matchups in the NFL for week number 6. Do me a quick favor, hit like if it is your first time checking out the GM, hit subscribe, also hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. So here we are again with another week where I've scoured the matchups and I'm not really impressed by anything other than two games. Of course, one is the Ravens game and another involves an AFC foe. So let's get to it. The first game we're going to talk about in biggest matchups is going to be the San Francisco 49ers against the Cleveland Browns. I call this game a big matchup simply because the San Francisco 49ers are looking like the best team in the league. In fact, let's just call it what it is. They are the best team in the league. All right. They're playing rock solid offense. They're playing rock solid defense. They're playing mistake free football. They're executing and they're dominating anybody that gets onto the field. Okay. I call this a big matchup because I want to see if Cleveland has been pretending or if they really have an opportunity to contend. When I say contend, I'm not talking about the Super Bowl. I'm simply talking about contend for the playoffs, contend for the AFC North title. Now, I'm one to be talking as a Ravens fan because we've been looking like pretenders as well. But in this matchup, the San Francisco 49ers roll in with a complete team. They are running the ball with high efficiency. They're passing the ball with a level of effectiveness. George Kittles is getting downfield, getting open, catching touchdowns. Debo Samuels is catching at the backfield, catching intermediate and taking it the distance in some aspects. And then Brandon Ayuk is still looking like a solid number one at times and number two at times. And so they're just playing mistake-free football, man, playing really rock solid. And I think they're going to be too much for the Cleveland Browns to handle. But let's talk about Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns started out with a dominant defense, and I don't think that has changed. I think they're still a dominant defense, but I think a few injuries have gotten away. I think some poor execution has gotten away. And I think an inept offense has gotten in the way as well, where the offense hasn't been able to really move the ball, been turning the ball over, and keeping that defense out on the field. The Cleveland Browns lost one game specifically against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they turned the ball over a whole lot and um, allowed TJ Watt to pick up the fumble, return it for a touchdown to end that game. And we kind of know what kind of disaster TJ Watt can cause. And so for the Cleveland Browns is what I mean. And so I think that in this game, in order for Cleveland to even have a chance in this game, their defense is going to have to play lights out. Denzel Ward is going to have to be excellent in coverage. Um, Grant Delpit, he's going to have to be sideline to sideline with elite level range, which he does have. And I think Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith are going to have to get back to pressuring the quarterback to see if they can pressure the young Brock Purdy into making some mistakes. But at the end of it all, I think San Francisco wins this game, and I think they win this game big. I think they put up about 27 to 30 points, and I think they hold Cleveland to about 14 to 19 points. So I'm going to predict 30 to 19 in favor of the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, that's barring any kind of injuries and things of that nature. But I think San Francisco wins this game handily and moves on as the only undefeated team in the league. All right. Now let's jump to the game we all want to talk about. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Tennessee Titans. Most of us won't see this game because it's going to come on super early. And if you get up and have some type of streaming access, you may be able to catch this game. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it or not, so I'm going to have to catch it all and rewind and review and highlights and so on and so forth. But we certainly will have a post game response to this game. I think this game is a must win more for the Baltimore Ravens than the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to preface this game as a have to win by the Baltimore Ravens. What do I mean by have to win? Well, must win games happen all throughout the season. Sometimes there's a must win to stop a slide, sometimes there's a must win to develop some character. Sometimes there's a must win to secure your playoff seeding. I call this a must win because the Baltimore Ravens cannot lose a third AFC conference game this early in the season. With losses to the Colts, the Steelers, and if we lose to Tennessee, that'll be the third AFC loss with about 6 or 7 AFC games remaining. The Baltimore Ravens cannot lose this game. I think if the Baltimore Ravens lose this game, it has very, very grave playoff implications. In fact, I predict that if the Baltimore Ravens lose this game, they have an 80% chance to miss the playoffs this year. I know you're wondering why, Leon Boulanger, how would you come up with that, right? How would you come up with such a high number? Well, here's why. With being tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North, actually not really tied, we're actually under the Pittsburgh Steelers because they hold the win against us, right? So we're really in second place. Right. So in order for us to get into the playoffs, we would have to win the AFC North or have a better win-loss record against other AFC conference foes. Well, having a second loss against a team that's inferior in talent to us will be unacceptable. Then you got a big game against Miami. Then you have a playoff team from last year in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then you have a playoff team against the Los Angeles Chargers from last year, all teams who are going to be fighting at the end of the season for playoff positioning. Why would they be fighting for playoff positioning? Because Kansas City is going to win their division. Miami and Buffalo are both going to get in, which makes limited space for the Baltimore Ravens if we keep losing to AFC conference foes. Okay? So let's get into the game. I think that the Tennessee Titans have one real recourse to win this game, and that's to develop the run with Derrick Henry. I think Burks is out this week, which takes away their best wide receiver, okay, which takes a weapon away from Ryan Tannehill. So I think it's going to be Derrick Henry or bust. Well, we've showed up big against the run this year, and so I think that the Tennessee Titans may have some difficulty moving the ball offensively. Okay. But if we jump to the Tennessee Titans defense, they have a nice front, they have nice linebackers, and they have a good corner and a good safety. Sometimes both Byers and I can't remember the cornerback's name, they play at Pro Bowl type levels. And so we're going to have our work cut out for us offensively. So let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens offense. The Baltimore Ravens offense have been hit or miss all year long. They've been sloppy, they've been inconsistent, they've been penalty prone, and they've just been all around underperforming. And so I think that if they come out and do exactly what they're supposed to do, establish the run, okay, limit mistakes, that's both penalties, turnovers, fumbling, all those kind of things. The Baltimore Ravens should be able to put forth an all around good team effort and walk out of London with a victory. I think the Baltimore Ravens have to continue to snuff out teams' offenses until their offense figures out who they are and what they're going to do. I think that Todd Monken can have silly play calls. I think that John Harbaugh has to have good in-game decision making. And I'll talk a little more in depth when I do keys to victory. But this is a have to win. The Baltimore Ravens cannot afford to leave London with an L, because I think that because this team is fragile, I think that they could begin to fracture. I think they can begin to stop listening, stop hearing John Harbaugh. I think they'll stop depending on and relying on one another, and this team will be a shell of itself going from week 6 into weeks number 7. So that's what I think, man. I think the Baltimore Ravens should be able to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction. I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens can put up 24 points and hold the Tennessee Titans to between 13 and 17. So I'm going to go 24-15 Baltimore Ravens with no unforeseen injuries, with no, just again, what I call the dumb stuff. If we just don't do the dumb stuff, we should get out of here against the Titans with a win and get back above the AFC fray. And what I mean by that is get back above, separate ourselves from the AFC bottom dwellers, right? There are certain teams in the AFC that should not be close to us record wise, but because we've stumbled and fumbled and bumbled, we've allowed ourselves to be amongst those teams who didn't come into the season with any hopes of making the playoffs or much less the Super Bowl. So I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out.